Good afternoon, everyone. Are everyone awake? Okay, let's start the session for this slot. We have Abhay Chokshi from BMC Software. He will be presenting on using marketing paradigms in technical documentation. Abhay Chokshi has about 7 years experience in technical writing, and we have an interesting introduction about him. He was actually working as a developer earlier, and he moved into technical writing. So that's a very good credit for our industry. Okay, over to Abhay.
Yeah. Hello. Hello. Am I audible? Yes. Okay. Yeah. Guys, you can move in case you want. I mean, I don't think a lot of people are joining, but let's see. So sorry in case you guys are planning to move. The session was originally planned for the other time slot, and it has moved ahead. So in case if you had any problems identifying. Session is using marketing paradigms in technical communication. This is what I would cover. I'll take you through the deep down the rabbit hole slowly. Let's start with the philosophy of the session. For that, I'll briefly give you a story, a small incident which has happened to me recently. I got this snake or Rubik's cube, some people tell it. We can make different shapes out of this. There was a small note with this tool which showed around 10 different shapes in it. I used to give my daughter, I used to make her these shapes, and she got really happy with it. She was using it and playing with it. I started with a small snake and so on. Then few days later, a kid from the opposite house came. I have a small daughter. You can see the photograph. That guy, he was a boy, small boy. Now I gave him the same snake, and he was not excited. He could not identify with it, and he was not interested in it. At the same time, one of my friend was visiting me, who is from the marketing department. He works as a marketing professional, and then he took that toy and made it into a gun. And the boy immediately related with it, used the toy and started playing with it. So it's a very vague analogy, but it just struck a chord with my mind that we are using a prescribed documentation to solve user's problem in a specific way. But can we do it in a bit different way? Or not what is, because our users use the product in n number of ways and we don't know about it. Whereas marketing professionals who are much closer to the customers, and they know a lot about our users and customers than we do sometimes. So the entire philosophy on which the session is based, what marketing professionals do that technical writers can. Let's start with an analogy here. How many of you know this show's name? What is it?
Big Bang Theory.
The Big Bang Theory, right? Yeah. So, for all those who don't know about this, I'll briefly explain what this is. It's a comedy show which comes on the English channels. It talks about 4 scientists and this girl named Penny, who is a normal person and which we can relate with as an end user for us. So this girl has a lot of common sense. She's witty, street smart, whereas all these scientists are technically very sound. They are very smart people, intelligent people, not smart but intelligent people, but they still falter with some of the day-to-day activities which are there. So here goes the Big Bang Theory funnel. If you see, Sheldon as a developer is highly technical person, but he he fails to understand normal life situations. For example, sarcasm. He doesn't understand sarcasm well. There is Howard, who is a QA. He has this habit of finding faults in every person's work. Then there is Leonard, who is a technical writer. I'll come back to this person later. It has strategic importance. Then we have support executive as Raj. So Raj is a lot more familiar and is used to working with Penny, and they both get along together. So I have put Raj as a support executive, and then we have Penny as our end user. Somewhere in between, we have marketing professional. Did we miss a slide? Okay, just a moment. Yeah, so somewhere between Penny and QA, that is Raj, we have a marketing professional. So this is the internal channel which is there within an organization, where we have developer, QA, technical writer, and support executive. And then there is an external channel which has Penny, support, marketing professionals, and Leonard. Now I would like to talk a bit about Leonard, that throughout the series, various seasons, Leonard and Penny got along really well, and with Leonard's help, Penny as the end user understood developer's point of view, that is Sheldon's point of view, and Sheldon as a developer understood Penny's point of view, and that is precisely what our job is as technical writer. We have to create a bond between end user and the developers. So how can we do this? Now that we know that what needs to be done, how do we do it? There are certain ways of doing it, but this session talks briefly about how marketing professionals can be really helpful and how we can draw a direct correlation with the marketing techniques, paradigms which are used across industry widely, which can be really useful. So let's go down the rabbit hole here. Here we're talking about marketing strategy versus documentation strategy. A lot has been spoken yesterday about strategy and how it should be built. I won't go that much deep into it, but still we'll cover a base here with, if you see marketing professionals, they have a specific strategy for each customers. When they approach a customer, they do a lot of groundwork, they prepare a proper base, and then they approach the customer. Similarly, for documentation, maybe we don't have to do a different strategy for each customer, but of course we have different problems which we need to solve. Earlier, before maybe 5-10 years, we used to write monotonous document which is relevant for all. Even specific, only there was changes related to specific audiences. There is developer documentation, then there is normal user documentation. There was a very small difference. But now with the advent of mobile, online documentation, we have to write differently for different types of customers. So that is where content planning comes in. Also, users' expectations have changed a lot than before. So we need to understand what user wants. I'll cover that, how we can meet that later on, wherein I talk about meeting the customers directly, and we're talking about delivery mechanism. So based on the content planning you do, you have to identify the delivery mechanism as well. Say in one of the sessions I attended yesterday, where we discussed about having a concept video which does not have user screens. So one of the examples here shows that. Yeah, so it will be a bit longer one. So here's one concept video which we have prepared using a tool named Powtoon. But that's not important. The thing is that we can use ready-made animations or create animation videos which solves the user problems, like explaining a complex concept using a video which does not include any kind of screens. Moving on. Relationships. Okay, before I start this, do you guys have any questions? I don't want this session to be a one-way flow, wherein you can anytime interrupt me and ask any kind of questions you have. Just let me know, guys. Yeah, please. In case you have seen the latest series, he can now, and he has a girlfriend. Okay, so going forward, relationships. How relationships are important for business, we all know. And a lot of business is driven on relationships. A lot of revenue is generated because of relationships. So what is important when we talk about relationships here? Communication. Marketing professionals communicate a lot with their customers. If they have, the customers have any problem, they are always available. So availability is also one of the things. And most importantly, they trust the brand and the company. And that is how relationships are formed in the industry. People trust products, companies, and the marketing professionals sell them. If we come to documentation, now documentation, there will be a slight difference here. And up till now, still in the industry, it is prevalent that we don't get to interact a lot with our customers on regular basis. How many of you actually interact with the customers? Or have you ever interacted with directly a customer who reads your documentation? See, it's very few. So until and unless we go and talk to the customer, at least one customer, two customers, we won't be able to exactly understand that what is the requirement or what are the challenges they are facing currently. Another thing which is that we are a lot reactive in our approach. And sorry, that point is covered a bit in detail later. But we need to resolve the queries quickly. That's how relationships are built. If the business has some problem, all the managers involved, everyone involved will be there right on. But if the documentation has a problem, overall in the hierarchy, that is rated as a bit lower priority thing, and it might not be a burning issue until unless it has been pressed really by the customer. Also, there are a couple of ways we can have regular interaction. One is based on the meetings which we can schedule, like we do at our organization. We have bi-monthly meetings with our customers. Secondly is that directly we reach out through social channels. A lot of our customers check more Twitter more than they actually check emails. Before they check emails, they would check their Twitter accounts more frequently. So social reach is one way of doing it. The next is we can go online, wherein there is a feedback mechanism available for the customer to directly reach us, and that is how we do it at our organization, wherein we use Confluence, and customers can directly put a comment here, and based on their comments within a specific SLA, we respond to the comment whether it can be resolved or not. Customers, in many of the cases, we have come across cases wherein customers have pointed out the problem with the documentation. We have fixed it then and there, or they have come up with a feature requests, and we have taken it through other channels and provided to the development team, the architects, and they have worked upon it. So this is how powerful interaction is. The next point is welcome back. So what this means is not coming back, but recurring business. One of the important things in business is returning customers. The customers who renew their contracts based on the communications, availability and trust which is developed with the product, company and the people, the marketing professionals. So we are talking about recurring business. Also, when a product is trusted, I would be happy to refer it to other people. So it also results in referential opportunities. And as I said, trust in the product's capability. It also ensures that when a business, when you upgrade or when you buy another product from the same organization, it ensures that they trust the support team, the documentation team, the marketing team and the product itself. How should we do it? First is, today a lot of information is available online. So if the documentation is not already online, we should be planning to do it. Three years ago probably we have moved from regular traditional PDF documentation to online documentation and results are tremendous. I mean, it has been a great help to us. The customers are happy that we don't have to wait till another release to update the documentation. We can go up and update the documentation then and there. We recently also opened our documentation wherein we don't have to log on to any of the sites, any of the BMC accounts to access the documentation. It is openly available on Google. Also, as we recently did some metadata strategies for improving the analytics, using the analytics for improving the search results as well. If you were in the previous session which was conducted by Ivan David, it talked a lot about SEO and the importance of SEO in documentation. I'm talking about technical documentation, not just content writing. Because a lot of information is online, it also helps in people returning to those links. So now let me give you some context why I'm talking about online documentation, Google search here with recurring business. The thing is, there is one thing, if your product is in the industry for some time, it's not always the case that what documentation you provide is the best or it is the only way to use that. If you see a product like Apple launches an iPhone, there are more reviews from the external sources than there are internal. In fact, there are no internal reviews because they don't need it. But software developers, software on the whole need a lot of documentation to be given because it's a lot complex. But the thing is that there are external consultants, there are people who actually write documentation, provide videos, information about our products better than we do. And the point about best practices which has been used recurringly since yesterday, I would say that it is extremely important because people outside are not the experts. Inside our organization we have experts and we should be taking a cue. We have recently run a program wherein we have consumed a lot of architects and internal developers' time to come up with the best possible approach for solving users' problems. And this is one example for it. It's a small video. It's created using a different tool again. And this is the tool. are multiple ways of doing specific things, but this key gives you the best practices for solving the specific problem. That's what the gist of the video is here. Now moving on. A lot has been already emphasized about how visual modes of communication are important now, and I won't talk a lot about it. We have already seen videos are there. We are a lot dependent on graphics now, but the word visible is also equally important. So the idea is to show them the world. Marketing professionals do this efficiently. I think they are the best probably in showing how things work or showing the product's capabilities and portraying the best possible picture of their products. We are not that good at doing our jobs. So the idea is not just write about it, show them. Show through rich media, improved search here. Once your experts or the best practices or whatever documentation is trusted enough, it will be ranked higher in the search results if your documentation is public. So it will give you improved search results and more authentic information being looked after or looked for more on Google. And there is also another important thing is that we have a lot of videos, internal communication which is being written and prepared by a lot of developers, QAs, and we don't, because it is not finished quality, it's not best quality, we are hesitant to keep it internal. And so at BMC we have done that exercise wherein we provide BMC contributor content outside to the outside world, which are actually videos created by developers, QA channels and architects, support people, and we have put them in the documentation. It might be a maintenance hassle, but at the end of the day, it's not always right to think of solving our problem or making our life easier. We are all doing it for the user. The next thing is communities. So this is it, ensuring visibility. How do we ensure visibility? With BMC we have BMC product documentation community. So BMC has this community culture wherein all the products have different communities, and we have created a documentation community for ourselves wherein customers who are not happy can come and post the information, or there is some information missing, they can come here and provide if there are new updates going out, there are new releases going out, we tell them proactively about it. There are of course different channels, there are official channels about the product release being informed, but we should not be waiting till that time. That's how what I meant by being proactive. We should be going out and spreading the information that on Twitter, on communities, that we have released a new version of the products, please go through the documentation. That's how the trust will be imbibed into the customer's mind by visibility and through proliferation. So that's visibility, and of course improved search with metadata, as I already told you. Now experience journey. Now this is extremely important, as Shish already covered a lot in the morning session, that we need to have the right problem solution approach. So marketing professionals do this very well. They solve, if the customer has a problem, they would definitely highlight that first, not the feature. We have feature, we are doing 10 different things, but what good is for the customer if it is not displayed or if it is not solving his current problem. So all the research that goes by the marketing professionals is about how and what kind of problems they have with the competitor's product, or in their industry, what is a gap that can be filled by our product. Similarly, we also need to do the same thing. Innovation is extremely important. They find innovative ways to reach out the customers. Selling it correctly via through different channels that will improve the product experience overall. Then documentation experience. How can we do an analogy there, directly relate to it by better design. So by solving the right problem, maybe we are solving the similar problem that that the customer has, but are we doing it in a correct way with a better design or not? That is important. That's where content driven delivery also comes into mind, wherein the different content should have a specific purpose. Say for example, concept can be release independent and it should persist in your documentation for the long time. So maybe video is a proper medium for it. For written content, procedures for specific releases, you can if there are small procedures, you can write them as well. Resolve user's pain area. Understand what is the problem user is facing through for a documentation. Is searchability a problem? Is not enough understanding a problem? Huge humongous documentation is a problem. Understand user's problem and then go for what kind of solution is a feasible one. I think a lot has been covered earlier as well for this, but I would still want to point out how innovation is extremely important. Powtoon I already covered. Prezi, this is one of the examples of Prezi. A video which I created for best practice was a Prezi video. Interactive graphics. This is the next session which I'll give you a small teaser about, which is going to be covered by Hemant Baliwala. So, so this is one of the progressive disclosure. It is based on progressive disclosure, wherein you are on. This is on the home page, wherein you can dwell in by going to the next level and a specific release. So this is kind of a release notes which is interactive in nature, and you can find all the necessary information in just this much limited space. But I won't want to go much deep in this. It's going to be covered in detail in the next session. So also Excel based utility, yes, this is one odd case wherein my development skills did help me to find solution for the user, where the user's information was covered a lot in a lot of content, and I tried to create a small utility based on Excel macros, wherein there were a lot of decision points involved, wherein the user had to look for a specific area in the table, then his information will be visible to him. I gave decision points directly here. So if active links is selected, there are specific options which are available, and then based on that the third one populated. So what needs to be done as a practice was displayed here, and once I click add to sheet, it will add to the sheet here. So this can be stored for further purposes as well. That is one way of innovating. And lastly, competitive analysis. As product have comparisons, a lot of technical writers also create marketing comparisons for products. If you see, I've seen GSM Arena, as soon as a product is released, they have technical specifications compared for different products. For cars, they have this. So even technical writers have this for software. So doc comparison involves something like that which is similar to product, wherein we have strategy, matrix and specific parameters on which, say how much rich media, how much documentation, how much words we use. So it's a very known concept, so I'm not touching this in a lot detail, but a lot of industries do it. We have also done it. The results unfortunately I won't be able to display here. And in the end, happy customers is successful writers. So that's where that's what I had for the session. Everything hopefully is covered. Questions? Let's open it for questions. Yeah, sure. Okay. Yes.
Other customer also see okay.
Yes.
Is it curated before?
No, it's not.
Okay.
It's not.
So how do you deal with that situation that customers can see comments posted by another customer?
It's generally not that way. I mean, a lot of times it so happens that we have posted, one customer has posted a comment, the other customer provides a resolution to it as well.
Yes,
So
that
it's
is-
that way, it's helpful in a way too, but sometimes there is a conflict in the in a discussion, and then we have to interrupt and provide the right kind of solution, or what is the best approach. But then after a while, if it is not solving a specific problem which is not only related to document and requires product improvements, we take it to the support channels, I mean the development channels, and try to resolve it, or we talk to the customers offline.
And are you tracking the page and the customer data before the query is raised and after the query is raised?
I think it is tracked, but unfortunately I am not much aware of it, because there is a data analytics team which specifically does all these things, because I won't be able to provide any kind of authentic information on that.
Actually, we also have an SLA that whenever a customer puts a query,
Yes,
we have a 48 hours SLA and
Yes.
we have to respond to the customer.
yeah. So are you seeing is it reflecting back in terms of a customer satisfaction, or a customer coming back as renewing their plan with you, such things?
Yeah.
So why would you think the customers are reading more of the online documents and then the PDF? Because they feel they are heard more.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
They get an answer.
Quickly, yeah, that's also one of the important things, because a lot of customers had come through the support channels, and then it takes certain time, which is a long period, before their query is heard or resolved. So that way online documentation helps.
Have you also faced a situation where you had a competitor coming in as a customer to your technical documentation site and posting a query?
I don't,
So we had a comment recently. What you have written is just not making sense to me.
Okay.
You have to see it, right?
Hmm.
We ignore it. Because or we kind of hide that comment.
Okay.
It's an abusive comment. So these are it's case by case.
there are few such cases.
Yeah, so in which case do you moderate those comments before they are actually appearing on your site for the public?
Because
So the thing is that
in that case, if it is not a positive thing, I think moderation helps, and Contents does provide facility to
the
do
thing is that I forgot to miss the point earlier, that comment posting you require to log on with specific IDs, and that is, of course, you will be able to identify the person there. Only viewing the page and viewing the online information is free to all. So that way it's done.
So if you're supposed to, you are competent, you will provide comment on certain video that you want to use video.
Thanks, Abhay, for correlating marketing and help documentation. I would call upon Radhika to present a memento on behalf of STC to thank.
Thank you. I'll just